Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, am I live? Give it a moment. Facebook, still waiting for Facebook to go live. Give it a second. New Facebook's a little weird. Has anybody updated to it yet? Is this happening? Let me see. All right, I'm live. I'm live in Facebook. Perfect. Okay. I wanted to do this talk because, like I've been saying, I'm here to serve this week. So many people are out of work, or alternatively are realizing they hate their jobs, and they're ready for something new. So I wanted to come out and start talking about things. And my main topic for today and right now is basically, can you launch an online offer now during social distancing and coronavirus? And the answer is, of course, yes. The only difference between now and before this pandemic started is mindset. You just have to have a different mindset, and you really need to lock it down on that. So what that means is that there are basically two ways to look at all situations and what's happening right now with social distancing. So for example, we can sit here as online entrepreneurs and say people don't have money to spend right now, or we can look at it as people are finally ready to invest in themselves, or they're selective with how they're spending their money, and they're spending it for their not just their entertainment at home, but because they're ready to get out of the situation that they're in, and they're ready for guidance. For another example of that is thinking well, I can't sell right now because people don't have money, but really you can't afford not to sell. So it's the flip side of that. And then for, people who are not necessarily looking to work online, sitting here thinking, no one's hiring, I'll never find a job right now, versus this is a perfect time to network. And this is a perfect time for me to meet people and put myself out there. So there are two sides to every coin. Now, knowing that this is going to be all about mindset and how we're viewing our current circumstances, what can you do with that? Well, I have 5 specific steps that you need to follow. Now, if you're an online entrepreneur, or regardless of anything that you're doing right now during social distancing, this is the step that you need to follow. First, you need to get organized. That's the first big thing, because now, especially if you're dealing with a stay-at-home order, which I'm in DC, Washington, DC, and it was just announced yesterday that there's going to be a stay-at-home order starting tomorrow on April 1st. So the last thing you want to do is get into just a really unmoored, disorganized place. So things you can do right now is get into a routine. So even if it's just a way to start the day and a way to end the day, that's going to be a huge game changer for you, especially that. And that works no matter whether you're working at home or whether you're currently unemployed. Just having some structure to your day is going to make you feel a lot better, and you'll feel less of that pressure of whatever it is you're going through right now. The second thing is that you have to channel all your thoughts. You have to challenge all of your thoughts right now, especially those destructive thoughts. Is this fact? Meaning you need to ask yourself, is this fact, or am I creating a narrative around a fact? The example for that being something of what's a fact versus a narrative. So say you're the fact is I haven't booked discovery calls. I haven't had a call. Nobody's booking calls with me. That is a fact. Okay. Now, if you can sometimes create a narrative where you're saying, I'm not booking discovery calls because I'm a failure, or because nobody is spending money right now, they don't want me. That's a narrative. That's a narrative you're creating about the fact that you haven't booked discovery calls. So do not don't confuse the two. You want to be really clear about sticking to the facts and asking yourself constantly, is this fact or is this a narrative? Hi, Rachel. Rachel's logged on. Now, it also with that, in the same vein, is that you also want to journal a lot about your thoughts right now, because it's one thing to like keep them all up here and to know about them and be aware that you're thinking them and that they're not true or that's not serving you right now. It's one thing to know, it's another thing to get it on paper, because I call it taking out the trash. When you journal, you're taking out the brain trash. It's amazing because once you get it on paper, it becomes easier for you to say, like, that's not true and I don't need to think this. Like, really seeing it makes a huge difference. So I want you to like journal on those thoughts that you're having all the time. And you need to be asking yourself these self reflective questions like, why are these thoughts coming up now? There's always a blessing in all of our fear based thoughts. So ask yourself what the lesson is or what's helping you because of that. A thing I tell people all the time is that, our brains are designed to keep us safe. So, negative thoughts, the reason we have those is because our brain wants to keep us in the place where we are because it's familiar. So, even if you don't like the problems that you have right now, those problems are familiar, and your brain, like, this place is safe. The place where we have success and the place where we have different problems, we don't know what those problems are like. So, I'm going to keep us here where we feel safe. So, at the very least, what you can do is you can say, like, if you're journaling, like, this thought is something that my brain is designed to do to keep me safe. And I don't need it, but thank you, brain. Like, thank you for trying to keep me safe. Other questions you can really ask yourself are like, not just like where's the lesson in the current circumstances. So what are you learning through this challenge? How is it serving you? How is it making you better? And also, you can even ask, like, what am I making these circumstances mean? That is going to be the most important question you're asking yourself, because you can change that. You can change the meaning of your circumstances at any time. You can subscribe whatever meaning you want to it. It's just that we tend to view the world through like shit covered glasses rather than rose colored glasses, because have our own insecurities that we bring into all of our viewpoints and all of our situations. So always ask yourself, what am I making this situation mean? Does it really mean that? Generally, no, it doesn't. The next thing you can do, like, is you really need to focus on getting grounded, because it's easy, especially with all the news and the doom and gloom that we're hearing, which is like, I'm not saying don't be cautious and don't be aware of what's happening. I'm just saying that, like, you cannot allow it to affect your mental state to the point that you stay frozen and stuck. So getting grounded means that you're not losing track of what makes you feel. So you need to stay in a place where you're going to feel good every day. And that's going to look differently for everybody. I like to keep 3 sets of lists in my house at all times. The first one I call my depression list, and it's literally the bare minimum that I have to do to not feel depressed every day. So, for example, I have to brush my teeth. I have to get dressed, even if it's just out of pajamas and into house clothes. I have to get out of the pajamas in order to feel a little bit better. And I have to shower and go outside. And I don't care if going outside is just like standing on your porch for a second or standing outside your front door and turning right back around and going inside. And some of us may not be able to do that right now because of those stay-at-home orders. So you really need to dial in on the rest, like what's going to make you feel good. My broader list, which is like my everyday list, like a checklist. I don't do everything every day, but the things I need to do that do me better and let me feel grounded is eat healthy, work out, move my body, journaling, meditation. It's things like that. Things that require little to no setup, but it feels a little ambitious. And I don't do every single thing. I just do a few. I do a few every day, and I like forgive myself on the rest. So have that list of things that will allow you to feel grounded every day. And then finally, I have the one that's more like long term. Mary says, I agree with this. I've been telling people this, especially if you work from home. Yes, yes, yes. Which I think all of us are working from home right now, basically. If you're not, like, you're an essential worker, and I'm so deeply sorry that you have to be out in this mess. And if you're a healthcare worker, I'm so grateful for what you're doing right now. Or emergency personnel, all of you guys are heroes right now. But hiking, which of course we can't really do right now, but it looks like, setting on my easel and drawing, doing a charcoal drawing. It's things that require a little bit more like setup to get there, something like that. So, or like knitting, crochet for me as well, like, because it requires me to like find a yarn, find a pattern, find a yarn, get the materials going, like do all the things, So that's what I'm talking about. So you want to have these 3 lists in your house so you always have a guide to refer to on how am I going to feel grounded in this moment. And then finally, the last thing is you really need to put blinders on with your goals right now and whatever it is that you're trying to connect with, because you have like, and what I mean by putting on the blinders is that like you're not letting anyone distract you from your goals, and you're also trusting, like you're upping your faith and your trust, and you're also surrendering to the result. So you have to understand that like not everything can be done through sheer will. And I'm like super guilty of this. I'm like very masculine energy woman. I'm very like do, like go out and get it, that kind of thing. But a really big part of manifesting and connecting with your goals is also knowing that like there's only so much that's within your control. The phrase I use all the time is work as if it all depends on you, trust as if it all depends on God. And you can sub that for whatever you believe, the universe, whatever. Trust as if it all believes in, as if it all depends on the universe. You need both of those equally. So now what's really important right now is to double down on the trust and on the belief. A lot of people are going to come at you with programming that they are using to keep themselves small because they're afraid. So you're going to hear a lot of things like, well, you can't expect to like charge that. You can't expect anyone to be hiring right now. Like you can't expect anyone to respond. Like you're going to be hearing a lot of this around you, and you need to just like have those blinders on. What I mean by that is like, think of horses like in those old timey movies, like who are like, on a carriage. They have those black things around their eyes, literally, so they can only see what's ahead of them. It's to keep them from getting spooked and like rearing up and like upending the carriage. You need to have those same blinders on. So you only see your goal and you only see what's possible, and you do not allow anybody else to spook you on your path to what you're trying to connect with. This is like this situation right now that we're facing. This is not like the world is not at a standstill. I know that a lot of people think that and a lot of people feel like it is, but the world is not at a standstill. This is a collective reorganization of the world. It's a rebirth. And it's happening because it's shifting awareness and holding a mirror up to society to show us what's not working right now. And like what's not working in America, the healthcare system and insurance companies, that's not working for us. Work culture, this whole idea that like people are realizing now that they don't have the distraction of coworkers, of happy hour, of their favorite lunch spot, of a nice office, they're realizing they don't like the work that they're doing. Excuse me. People who have been super loyal to a company are realizing now that the company was not loyal to them, like they've been laid off or they're not as irreplaceable as they thought. Minimum wage is not working for us right now. That like shitty stimulus packet, like shitty stimulus check that you're expecting to get, the $1,200, and everyone's like, you can't live off that for a month. Where did they come up with it? They based it off of the national minimum wage. So that's where that came from. So that's not serving us. Even like the accessibility of like rich people's like America, the ability to invest in stocks, the ability to travel, all of these things, the coronavirus is showing us what's not working in our society, and it's doing it for us now so we can change it. So all of us who are stuck in our houses, the reason we're going crazy is because we're sitting here reflecting on all of these things that just like do not serve us. And that's what's driving us nuts. We're having to sit in our trauma, and we're having to actually reflect on our lives and like what we do and don't want. That's the big difference. But it doesn't mean that you cannot serve right now. And it doesn't mean that you cannot bring in money. You can. You can absolutely do it. The only difference right now is mindset. So follow those 5 steps. I'm going to recap them. Basically, get organized and on a routine. Challenge all your thoughts that come up, journal and ask yourself questions about why those thoughts are coming up. Get grounded so those thoughts affect you less. And finally, put blinders on and up your trust and surrender right now. That is the key. So I hope that helped a lot of you. And for those of you who are enjoying this content, expect more of it. And also, I'm starting specifically for those of you who are looking to make money right now because of whatever situation you're in, whether you're trying to scale your business because it's stalled out, or whether you're just starting an online offer because you don't have any other options and you don't know what else to do. I'm going to be leading us through this process starting on Thursday. So we're going to start on Thursday, 1 p.m. That's April 2nd, 1 p.m. US Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to walk us through all the steps. So the first 2 days, we're going to talk about like what is it that you want to teach, and how do you want to connect with, and how do you want to teach it, and who you're teaching, all of that. And then we're going to move on to like how to like design it around your ideal client. So we're going to handle that Thursday and Friday. And then the following week, we're going to talk about like how to price it out, how to market it. We're going to cover all of these topics totally for free. If you want that info, you need to register. So if you're watching on Instagram, I have a link in my bio, or if you just want to DM me, it's totally fine. I'll give you the info. And then if you're on Facebook, the link is in my comments. It's in my comment section, and it's going to be like in the caption for this video as well. I hope to see you all there. I'm really excited. Do not lose hope. Now is actually a really powerful time in the world, and you have more power than you realize. Remember, like you're a bird, and the birds do not trust in the branches, they trust in their own wings. And that's exactly the mentality you need to have right now. So with that, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. You guys have a great one. Bye.